We need our good health to be successful and achieve all our important goals, including wealth. We can help keep in good health by practicing good lifestyle habits, like eating well and exercising. Hi there, welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Theodore Henry. On the pages today, Jamaica moving towards universal healthcare. Also, alternative energy options to help you save. Later, we'll hit the road to get some ideas for keeping our children safe on the streets. All these and more are coming up in the half hour. Stay with us.
Government health centers and hospitals have an adequate supply of paracetamols like Panadol and Cetamol to treat the chikungunya virus. Paracetamol in the public health sector is free of cost. For more on chikungunya and the medication, call the Ministry of Health toll-free at 1-888-1-LOVE. That's 1-888-663-5683. Mondays to Fridays, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. A message from the Ministry of Health.
Government is taking steps towards achieving universal healthcare, which is part of a global vision for a healthcare system that ensures everyone gets the services they need without suffering financial hardship when paying for them. Necessary changes are already unfolding in the health sector.
In developing countries such as Jamaica, ill health is one of the most frequent causes of poverty. In turn, poverty is one of the greatest health risks. The importance of social health protection has therefore driven several international resolutions and campaigns for many decades. And now the world is moving towards universal health coverage, UHC.
Jamaica subscribed to the WHO definition, which states that universal health coverage implies, and I quote, that all people have access without discrimination to nationally determined sets of promotive, preventative, curative, and rehabilitative basic health services needs, and essential, safe, affordable, effective, and quality medicines, while ensuring that the use of these services does not expose the users to financial hardship, with a special emphasis on the poor, the vulnerable, and the marginalized segments of the population. End of quote.
Jamaica is taking steps towards this. But along the way, we have had challenges with the high cost of healthcare, which all around has affected things such as the level of resources in our hospitals and clinics, and also human development concerns from our doctors and nurses. And with guided support from the international community, we are pursuing key strategies to make universal health coverage a reality for Jamaicans.
As part of the process, PAHO has developed a draft strategy for universal health coverage, coordinated by the Department of Health Systems and Services, with the participation of advisors and country focal points in ministries of health in the area of health systems. The findings, considerations, and ideas of the countries will be discussed and integrated into the final version by a working group that in fact includes Jamaica.
So where's Jamaica at on this path to universal health coverage? According to the Human Development Index, in 2006, Jamaica ranked above the average life expectancy of developing countries, and as of 2014, our life expectancy is 75 years for females and 71.5 years for males. A number of tangible investments have contributed to these gains.
The upgrading of the aging infrastructure, primary and secondary care. More than 100 health centers have been refurbished under the primary care infrastructure renewal program. And since 2012, 1.5 billion has been spent for equipment acquisition and upgrading of hospitals.
Government is also improving the system to service existing equipment. Pharmacy services have also been improved, more so since the National Health Fund took over management of the public facilities, reducing waiting times by more than 75%. There has also been the introduction of the GOJ Health Card, which is improving efficiency in delivery service, the collection of health insurance from private insurance providers, and the dispensing of pharmaceuticals. Added to these is a coordinated program to upgrade primary health infrastructure and services.
the completion of phase 1 of all 4 centers of excellence, Claremont in St. Anne, Isaac Barrett in St. Thomas, Darlington in Westmoreland, Santa Cruz in St. Elizabeth, all have been officially open, and Jamaicans are enjoying the upgraded and improved services.
Other plans are unfolding, including increased public-private sector partnerships, intersectoral collaboration among the various government ministries, legislation and regulation to guarantee the right to health, equity and solidarity, and the development of a robust regulatory framework, public education, and increased public expenditure on health. Jamaica, now on the path to achieving universal health coverage.
The main health objective of Vision 2030, our National Development Plan, is for a healthy and stable population.
The transformation of the health sector that is taking place right now is in line with our UHC goals. I want to make it clear that this process will not be completed overnight. It is a journey, not a destination. We therefore continue to build systems of excellence in the health sector that will see our population having access to quality and affordable health care at all levels.
Finger-licking jerk chicken, Helcher fish and bami, we run down yam and banana, roast bread fruit, sweet potato pudding. Jamaica food sweet. So let's make a pledge to use more local produce and less foreign goods. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow.
It makes good economic sense to save more and spend less. And with the cost of energy being our biggest burden of expense as a country, the Petroleum Corporation of Jamaica is promoting alternative energy options that individual homes and businesses can acquire and save big time. Take a look. Businesses and individuals making the change. Government committed to the promotion of renewable energy in all sectors of the society, and the momentum is increasing. High energy bills continue to be a reality for Jamaica, and government is adamant that this must change.
Our approach has been to tackle this through focusing on, firstly, conservation and renewables, and I'm going to deal with that in a bit. Secondly, the legislative and regulatory framework. And third, investment in our energy infrastructure.
To promote conservation and renewable energy, government removed taxes from renewable energy equipment and suspended the common external tariff on selected machinery and equipment commonly used in the industry. This created more financial space for businesses and individuals to implement energy-saving measures. And more important, it continues to facilitate startup and encourage growth in existing businesses, and ultimately achieving government's vision for greater use of renewable energy.
Renewable energy is the fuel of the future. As we chart our own path to growth, we must begin right now where we are, with what we have. And we have available to us, Mr. Speaker, sun, wind, water, and waste.
Taking advantage of those resources will require action on the part of the people. To do this, every Jamaican must first get involved in the energy discussion, starting with awareness. And that was the main goal of the 2014 Alternative Energy Expo put on by the Petroleum Corporation of Jamaica, PCJ.
The public is very keen to get information about reducing their energy spend. A lot of people are contemplating renewable energy, but they don't know a lot about it. And so what PCJ is doing is just trying to demystify renewable energy for the consumer. We're trying to break down the concepts, explain the terminologies, the technology, so that consumers can make the best purchase to meet their needs.
Service providers from the public and private sector were on board, exposing patrons to a wide variety of options, from LED lighting and wind turbines to solar-powered water heaters and air conditioning units for homes and businesses. There was also a conversion kit to transform your traditional electric water heater to a solar-powered energy-saving system.
So with this kit, what we do is replace the AC heating element, alternating current heating element. As you know, your house will use alternating current with DC heating elements that solar panels produces. So these heating elements will be connected directly to solar panels and powered by the sun, heat your water during the day without be connected to your household power.
Speaking of household power, did you know that you can actually monitor and even store the energy you get from the grid? Yes, you can, through what is called a grid-tied system.
A grid-tied system operates primarily without batteries. It's interconnected to your utility main. It generates the power and reduces the amount of energy that you take from the grid. If you have excess energy, it returns it to the grid. When coupled with this yellow inverter, which is a battery inverter, excess energy does not go to the grid but is stored in a battery pack. Here you can extend the use of solar energy into the night.
To use the grid-tied system, you'll need a license from the Jamaica Public Service. The Alternative Energy Expo offered more ways to monitor your energy usage, like the 7-day digital timer.
So it's a 50 cycle for 110 volts. What you do, you set the time you want the appliance to turn off, turn on. It automatically does that for 7 days of the week. If no one presses the button here, it repeats itself.
Then there's the Enver Smart Monitor. You can connect it to your breaker systems, which transmits vital details about your energy usage pattern.
It tells you what time of the day your energy peaks. It tells you the kilowatt hours for 1 day, 30 days, 7 days for the entire month. It also tells you the cost, but of course you would have to input the cost per kilowatt, and you can see that on your bill. It has an instruction manual, so it's pretty easy to program.
With such valuable information on ways to reduce energy consumption, patrons at the Expo felt more equipped to make smarter energy choices.
Yes, I will be getting some tips on my home how to save energy, and I will put it to use.
I'm impressed with the Expo in terms of the quality I've seen. In fact, I was very surprised. Have I seen what I like? Yes. Have I got some inquiry? Yes. Will I do business based on the Expo? I think so.
The PCJ Alternative Energy Expo also provided one-on-one consultations, advising patrons on what would work best in their environment.
So before you do any kind of purchase or installation, there must be a site assessment. Look at your location. What is happening there? What will happen there in the future? Will your neighbors build high-rise and block out the sun? Will your equipment be secure? Do you have enough room to install your panels? If you're thinking of using a structure, is it a safe and solid structure? So these are some of the things that you have to think about before you make that investment.
Important precautionary measures to prevent the introduction of Ebola to Jamaica. A travel ban is now in effect against persons entering the island directly or indirectly from 3 West African countries struggling with the Ebola outbreak: Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone.
The Ebola incubation period is up to 21 days, 3 weeks. You could essentially have left anywhere, entered the country, and be well for a week or so before you become ill.
Stay alert, stay safe, avoid travel to Ebola-affected countries. Persons must honestly disclose their travel history at all ports of entry. While traveling, report to authorities if you or any traveler have Ebola symptoms or is believed to have been exposed to infected items or persons. Also, do not touch dead bodies and make intimate contact with persons who may be infected or who could have been in contact with an infected person. For more information, contact the Ministry of Health's Emergency Operations Center at 1-888-1-LOVE. That's 1-888-663-5683. A message from the Ministry of Health.
Road traffic accidents, injuries and deaths blight growth and development. So road safety is an important part of the country's developmental goals, and particularly, attention is paid to the welfare of children on the streets.
A child should never be moving in a moving vehicle. They should be completely still. They should be seated because the car can come to a sudden stop and they will get hurt. If the child is under 5 years of age, then they need to be in their car seat or booster. If the child is a little bigger than a car seat, then there are boosters provided that the children should occupy. You should ensure that the car safe lock is on, that the windows are turned up, or at least even if the windows have to be down, that the children are not exposing their hands, their heads, any parts of their body outside of the car, because that is extremely dangerous. You have to be focused fully on the road, both eyes fully engaged ahead of you. There are times when you might feel sleepy because you're on a long journey. You have not rested well the previous night. There are things that you can do. You make use of rest stops. If you start feeling a little drowsy, you get out of the car, stop the car, get out of the car, and get some fresh air that usually wakes you up. And make sure that you're properly hydrated, and Lucozade can help you to be.
Drivers need to slow down in front of schools.
Legislation is being drafted to designate certain areas as school zones, where motorists will be required to cut their speed during specified time frames. That's just one of several measures being tackled to ensure that children are protected as part of the Road Safety Unit's aggressive move to enforce the National Road Safety Policy. The unit also plans to deliver the road safety message to at least 130 primary schools every year, with intentions to roll out the initiative in secondary and tertiary institutions. And there are plans to ensure that road safety is entrenched in the curriculum of secondary schools. The Ministry of Transport and Works is also doing its part to ensure that pedestrian crossings are maintained, sidewalks are provided, and appropriate signs are installed, including at designated school zones.
I think parents really need to ensure that children are trained as to how to cross the road. Invariably, accidents do happen. I mean, it's likely that a child who is learning to ride a bicycle is going to fall at some point, and you want to ensure that you minimize the risk of injuries and severe injuries when they fall. And if a child falls and hits their head, then they're going to be up for major injuries, and it could be fatal. So you certainly want to avoid that risk. They would need to make sure that they have helmets. That is crucial. Knee pads, elbow pads, ensure that there are proper reflectors, lights on the bicycle, that kind of thing. I'm sure that you would want to confine them into an area that is not heavily trafficked.
(2011 to 2020) has been declared the United Nations Decade of Action for Road Safety. Between 2001 and 2010, Jamaica managed to reduce the number of child fatalities in traffic collisions by 6%. The Road Safety Unit wants more of us to support the effort to eliminate fatal traffic collisions, starting with reducing the number to below 300 in any given year.
How many of you think it's cute when you have your little 5-year-old, 7-year-old, 10-year-old, and you have your friends, maybe your relatives, your sisters, your brother, and one drop come on, and she's there doing the one drop, and you say, ah, ha, ha, you laugh, and you say, no man, cute. And she goes to school or in the classroom, and everybody is doing it. And when you hear, she gets punished for it. So are we being hypocritical parents? If you want your children to be raised to respect others, you have to, in turn, respect them so that they can respect you.
Don't forget, no, just to know yourself's a blessing. Don't forget, no.
A recap of the major stories of the week next.
Hi there, I'm Simone Wolf with your JIS News of the Week. The Planning Institute of Jamaica, PIOJ, is predicting that the economy will grow between 0.5 and 1.5% for the final quarter of 2014.
Most industries are expected to grow, with the agriculture and hotels and restaurants industries projected to record the strongest growth.
The October to December projection reflects a rebound from the July to September quarter, when the PIOJ says real GDP contracted by 0.8%. But the PIOJ's Director General expects that and other factors to improve going forward. For both the 2014 calendar year and the 2014-2015 fiscal year, he says GDP should grow within the range of 0.5 to 1.5%. The Bank of Jamaica, BOJ, meanwhile, is taking measures to lower inflation in order to reduce the pressure on the exchange rate and slow the depreciation of the Jamaican dollar. At a press conference on Tuesday, BOJ Governor Brian Winter said the goal was an inflation rate of about 3 to 4% in line with Jamaica's trading partners. In the meantime, Mr. Winter says he expects inflation for the current fiscal year to be in the targeted range of 7 to 9%.
In October, inflation has already slowed to 8.2% annual inflation. And that has happened as agricultural production picked up and prices declined. Inflation is expected to hover around this level for the rest of the fiscal year.
Over 100 persons from the parishes of St. Catherine, Clarendon, St. Elizabeth and Manchester are now registered landowners, having received their titles on Thursday. The process was facilitated by a Memorandum of Understanding signed recently between the Land Ministry and the Development Bank of Jamaica, the DBJ.
It facilitates the provision of grant funding valued at over 90 million Jamaican dollars to assist landowners who are desirous of completing payments owed to LAMP for titling services, but are unable to do so at this time.
We need to continue to ensure that our people will be able to hold up their titles and proudly declare, I own a piece of this rock called Jamaica.
Under the Land Administration Management Program LAMP DBJ agreement, about 2,000 titles will be delivered to residents across several parishes in 2015. The first batch of 650 is being issued between this November and early 2015. 7 communities in Kingston and St. Andrew are to benefit from a $30 million electricity regularization project over the next 12 months. This is the result of a partnership agreement for community renewal, which was officially signed Tuesday by the Jamaica Social Investment Fund and the Jamaica Public Service. The initiative is called Project Step Up. Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller says it will provide opportunities for residents to improve their economic conditions.
Because that woman who can do nails and can do hair, and the young men that can do barbering with electricity, and they do not have to steal it, they can create their own jobs in a number of areas, in a number of ways. Those who can bake, those who can do just wonderful juices, they can step up. And this is the mission of my administration.
Health Minister Dr. Fenton Ferguson this week announced that 2 Cuban experts were arriving in the island to train Jamaican health and frontline workers in Ebola management. He was speaking on Monday at a welcome ceremony for 30 additional Cuban health workers who have also been trained in Ebola management.
We are very grateful for this opportunity, especially since we have put in place 2 Ebola treatment centers, one at the National Chest Hospital in Kingston and the other at Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James. And we are now confident that we will have properly trained staff, both locally and from Cuba, to work in these facilities.
The police are better equipped to use less forceful methods of law enforcement now that they have received 3,400 kits containing non-lethal weapons. The kits, which were donated by the United States government, each contain a retractable baton, pepper spray canister, a pair of handcuffs, and a utility belt. They represent the first tranche of the donation, which will benefit about 7,500 police personnel. And finally, the National Animal Identification and Traceability System got off to its official start at the annual Minard Livestock and Beef Festival recently. The process should be completed for the country's 60,000 cattle stock within 12 months. Agriculture Minister Derek Kelly says the program will facilitate high-quality food, safeguarding public health and supporting the trade in food products.
Food safety and traceability have largely been driven by the demands of the export market. However, our own consumers deserve nothing less than safe and healthy food.
The Ministries of Agriculture, Health and Local Government, along with the Jamaica Constabulary Force, recently signed a Memorandum of Understanding to guide the implementation process. And those were some of the stories making news this week. I'm Simone Wolf.
There'll be a better tomorrow. 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 There'll be a day. There'll be a way. There'll come a time to sing a brand new song. There'll be a better tomorrow.
And that's it for today's magazine program. But keep the link. Tell us what you thought of the show. Send an email to jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm or hit us up on Twitter @JISNews. Also, click on our website, jis.gov.jm, for the very latest government information. On behalf of the team here at the JIS, I'm Theodore Henry, inviting you to join us again tomorrow for more information you can use. Until then, take care and thanks so much for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.